Congratulations to the WNBA. Your ratings are going to drop by 55 to 60% once again. I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlin Clark, and it's been an awful thing. Caitlin Clark is officially ruled out for tonight with a groin injury, and she will not play tonight.
A strange thing just occurred. Within minutes of Caitlin Clark's collapse, the WNBA's ratings plummet more rapidly than a butterfingered phone. Is it a coincidence? Or does one rookie and a box of duct tape hold the entire league together? ESPN sweating. While Kathy Engelbert is revising press releases, a marketing team is searching Google for legal ways to clone Caitlin in a dimly lit room. The WNBA may be phoning high school students next, so fasten your seatbelts if this trend continues. Let's clean this mess up.
Now, we know last night the Indiana Fever faced off against Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings. Now, a lot of people is criticizing the WNBA referees yet again after another matchup because they felt as if Paige Bueckers actually had a special whistle. Now, I spoke about this last night, man, and people was definitely showing mixed reviews about it. But with all that being said, dog, we look like WNBA Commissioner Kathy has opened up about this situation a little bit and spoken about it. Now, I've been on Kathy Heine, bro, for a while now, going back to last year, addressing these WNBA referees. I've been one of the first content creators to break it all down, even letting you know how they pick them, how they find them, how much money they make. They only make like $100,000 a year, bro.
As Caitlin Clark fell to the ground, holding onto her ankle, you could practically hear a collective gasp that reverberated more loudly than a playoff bell. Not from the fans or the Indiana bench, but from WNBA executives whose spreadsheets simply exploded. Sales of tickets stagnated. The viewership graphs began to flip around. Additionally, a highly anxious television producer in Connecticut began stress eating a whole tray of stadium nachos.
Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA to be down. And this tweet from Christine Brennan really stuck out to me. She said one player gets injured and more than half the TV audience for the entire league disappears. Has any other athlete ever had that kind of impact on a sport? Golf without Tiger definitely dropped precipitously on occasion, but not like this. A truly remarkable sports story continues.
Sincerely, the WNBA isn't simply limping in Caitlin's absence. With an ACL tear and no ice packs in sight, it is limping across the court. It was not even a subtle collapse. It happened instantly. She was deemed doubtful the second time. Once roaring arenas were uncannily quiet, as if a pin could not be heard falling. Keep quiet. However, the only ad deals that were dropped were for the WNBA, the NBA, and ESPN. They made an effort to remain composed. They chirped, "Yes, there are multiple players in the league."
Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought the mainstream media told me that AJ Wilson was a huge star. Isn't that the prevailing narrative throughout the media? They want to share the credit. They claim Angel Reese and AJ Wilson are the reason that people are watching pretend basketball. Now, sure, they give some credit to Caitlin Clark, but the media prefers to share the credit.
However, to suggest that the Titanic was more than just a boat would be incorrect. True in theory, but notice how that turned out. It was almost as if the camera crews were muttering, "So we heading back to Iowa," as they packed up their tripods. Because Caitlin is more than a novice. She is the league's driving force, its protagonist, and its one-woman stimulus package after 25 years of attempting to make fetch happen.
Clark is okay. I want to know when this injury even happened, bro, because let's be serious here. She has the quad injury. Mind you, Caitlin Clark hadn't missed a game since she was like 19 years old. Since she was like 18 in college or something. Now she has a groin injury. We've never seen Caitlin Clark play as bad as she played the last 3 games. Let's just be serious here. She's like 1 for 20 something on threes in the last 3. We've never seen her shoot the ball this way. I'll say that. Has she been hurt and playing through this? Did this happen? Because you have people out there saying this injury happened when Stephanie White decided to sub her back in the last 8 seconds of the game versus the Seattle Storm when we was winning.
It's not even crickets without her. There are only vibes, buzzers that reverberate, and vacant seats. Negative ones. Attendance is declining. We have spare seats, for example. Take 1. Take 5 tanking levels, please. Suddenly, stadiums that sold out last week appear to be holding silent meditation retreats. Like WNBA items on discount, entire rows are kept unaltered. The ushers themselves began to pose existential queries. At halftime, someone said, "Do I still matter if no one comes through this gate?" Ratings too. Oh boy. Nielsen most likely had to call it to correct whatever error was causing the numbers to plummet. In case you missed it, it wasn't a glitch. The audience just walked away, disappeared, as if their queen had simply walked off stage left and taken the storyline with her. It's not a shade, it's true. Everything is flawless while Caitlin is playing. The tension is higher, the passes are clearer, and the lights appear brighter. Suddenly, people who haven't seen a basketball game since Space Jam are debating plus-minus statistics and pick-and-roll tactics, like it's fantasy football draft season. However, the chat ends as quickly as a towel in the locker room after a game as she leaves.
News is alarming for the league, and it's alarming for the league because this is such a crucial year for the WNBA. At the end of this season, the WNBA will go into CBA negotiations. If negotiations go well, then every single player in the WNBA has a much better chance of making so much more in their next contract. And if you guys were watching my videos during the off season, I was so much more optimistic going into this year because we had so much drama and the media, I felt like, mishandled so many things with the WNBA last season, and specifically with Caitlin Clark and her fan base. And that's one thing when you start thinking about how many people stopped watching when Caitlin Clark got injured. A lot of people stopped watching because they are...
Sponsors take note. Broadcasters take notice. No matter how often the league promotes the idea that there are so many outstanding players, Grandma from Idaho, who at last worked out how to stream a Fever game, undoubtedly takes attention. Fans simply aren't interested in fast dating the other members of the group, it turns out. They came in search of Caitlin. They remain because of Caitlin. And after Valentine's Day, they ghost each other more viciously than an ex, while Caitlin is gone. The interesting thing is that everyone was aware of it. Deep within, the league was aware. The players were aware. Heck, the pretzel vendor in section 102 was undoubtedly aware. For this reason, Clark was featured on national television more times in 2 months than half of the WNBA's veterans were in a 10-year period.